Hi there, folks. Simon here. Welcome to the 2024 January Beginner TAC Tournament. This is the finals of this tournament. This is between dayofni and Spawnoza. They have both won their respective groups and moved on through the quarterfinals and semifinals. Let's take a look at here what we've got. We've got dayofni coming in the quarterfinals, beating Fork, who I believe is actually in the Twitch chat right now, and took some overtime games in order to do that. Had to play blitz tiebreakers in order to do that, and then moved on to play some monster. And you can tell, these are the two regular games, and then they had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiebreaker blitz games that they had to play in order to come out with a victor here in this one in the semifinals. So dayofni has worked very hard to make it into this finals for sure. Lots of games there. And I believe a lot of these were played at like 5 in the morning or something because they're in Australia. So Spawnoza, on the other hand, did work very hard in the quarterfinals as well, playing against the one rogue and having to go to those blitz tiebreakers yet again. And then going on to face Evotion and just winning flat out against Devotion and moving on to the finals here. Solid play from both of these players. We've seen them in previous beginner tournaments, I believe, except Spawnoza, I think, has played in an intermediate, maybe an intermediate open, or maybe just the TAC open, something like that. I don't think he's played in a beginner yet. But regardless, they have worked hard to be here and to play some great TAC. A lot of great stuff here. I'm excited to see this game. We're seeing several people from this tournament who are ready to see this this match as well, who have been knocked out by these players and want to see how this turns out, who's going to be the winner here. We see dayofni playing some last-minute slate bot matches as a warm-up here before the games begin against Spawnoza, so that's always fun. But this is played just like all the other games in this tournament, besides the blitz tiebreakers, of course. It is on a 6x6 board, as you see here, played with a 15-minute timer, a 10-second increment. Also going to be playing this 2-game match, so they're each playing as both colors. And if the games have split by the end of that 2-game match, meaning that if they each win one game, or if they draw both games, which is, I don't think has ever been done in the history of competitive TAC, but if that happens, they will have to play blitz tiebreaker games until one of them wins. And I think both of them are just really not looking forward to that. They do not want blitz because trouble with scheduling. It's always hard to schedule these games and things like that. And also, I think they're just sick of blitz and they want to play just regular time control TAC here. So I get that. I get that. But we see people in the chat saying right now that that they're wagering this is going to go to blitz. I would say so as well. Both players have shown that they are tough competitors, and this should be a solid match, especially for a beginner tournament. These guys are the top of the beginner bracket here, and I believe we're going to be seeing at least one of them in the intermediate open that's starting in a week, I think. So looking forward to that, seeing who's going to be in there, and all the other people who are going to be in that tournament. We'll see how that goes. But this is not the intermediate open. This is the beginner tournament. So let's do that. let's go ahead and tune in for this game. This is game 1, dayofni in white, Spawnoza in black. And let's go right ahead with game 1 of this finals match. All right, we see A1 played and then opposite corners with F6, and dayofni continuing with this pattern from the previous games, going straight for that center control, and Spawnoza going for that knight's opening sort of defense here. Now we're seeing dayofni playing up at D5, not playing down at D3, interestingly, opening up that spot at D3 for Spawnoza to play here, whether it be with a capstone or a flat, something like that. But we'll see if he goes for anything like that. Taking his time here, trying to figure out what the best play is. Now, playing up here at d5 is interesting because while black can take the momentum by playing here at d3, white can cut it off by maybe dropping a capstone here at c3, for example, or something like that, maybe even a wall or a flat, and then playing up above here at c5, going for this horizontal at the top. But doesn't have to worry about that because black has played at b4. White can now play at d3, but instead playing up at b5. Now this is interesting because this cuts off black's momentum and goes for that horizontal at the top. We see the black capstone drop, and immediately afterwards, zero hesitation, that white capstone dropped at c4. And so white is prepared to take this on, take on this vertical threat here. That's what black is going for at the moment. They're going to have to shift gears, most likely, fairly soon if black wants to be able to do this. So black's playing down at b2. Now this is what I was talking about, shifting gears. This does play for that vertical, but it's also making a closer connection here to a1, being able to go for this horizontal down at the bottom. And that's going to be pretty important here. Because if white is able to cut off this vertical threat, black's going to be going for that horizontal at the bottom. White now playing down below at c3. This is setting up for, again, that vertical for white that they started with from the very beginning. It's also playing over here close to that horizontal that black's going for, trying to cut off this horizontal that black's building for now. White's kind of going for this ladder approach, kind of cutting that off. Gonna allow black to be able to play some flats in here to do some capture wars and kind of figure out how they can get across in this horizontal realm. Black might want to play here at e2 if they want to continue on this horizontal line, or they can do something like play over at a4, a2, something like that, try and build across and up in the vertical direction as well. But I think that right now their best bet is to go for this horizontal as white is busy going for this vertical threat. Now we see white play at a3. This is an important play. What this is doing is it's cutting off black's ability to play around the capstone here and go for that vertical. Black can make attack threat by playing at b6 here, but it would just be cut off very, very quickly, either by bringing b5 down or bringing the capstone over, something like that. It would be basically just a delaying move and might put black in a worse position than they're in already. Black does play at b6 though. This is inviting a capture move. This is a attack threat for black. White does bring that b5 down. Now this, you don't want to have a big stack there as it will give black an ability to drop a wall or bring that capstone over, capture it, but it's right next to this capstone, so you don't have to worry about this at all. White probably wants to play something like d3 here, and that's exactly what they do. This is setting up for the vertical, it's setting up for the horizontal, it's in a very central position. They've got this citadel right in the center of the board. Very, very strong positioning right here. And I am having to speak incredibly quickly because they're playing so fast. And you see dayofni above that 15-minute mark, almost at 16 minutes. With a 10-second increment starting at 15 minutes, they've gained 40 seconds. Whereas Spawnoza down here has spent about a minute and a half of their time, including even more of that 10-second increment per turn. Black making another attack threat here, probably inviting this stack to come down, or potentially bring this a3 up, and they did bring the a3 up. Now this is setting up for a horizontal line, but white's probably going to have to give up this capstone pretty soon. Black can drop a wall here to capture up onto a4, but if white responds to a wall by playing at e2, that is not only the horizontal threat, but it's also the vertical. And that is something that can be overlooked in these beginner tournament games. It's easy to miss those threats. Black, however, not going to buy it, going to come over with their own capstone. And that's pretty big, able to come down and interrupt these things. But this is still a citadel. this is still a position where black's not going to be able to cut off this horizontal line by one move alone unless they do it with this B5 or B3. So white can play still at E2, not be making that vertical threat, but still making the horizontal one. I like this. I like this position still for white. I think it's very good. I think black moving that capstone over was absolutely imperative. Great move there from black. White instead playing an E3, which I find interesting. Black's able to take this down all the way to D3 if they want to do it that way. I feel like that E2 would have been a little bit better, again, as it would be creating a double. So it would be forcing a capture, because black at this moment can delay it just by playing a flat at F3. And so playing at E2 would have made it so white could play at F2 or F1 here, and either one of those would have completed a road. But instead playing at E3, you've only got the F3 option to make a road here. And that just gives black another opportunity to drop a flat and improve their flat count score here and get more material on the board to be able to do things later on in the game. Though black does capture down. This is where I expect that capstone to come left. Yeah, it's too juicy to pass up. And, you know, it was a attack threat. So had to be done. Maybe black was hoping they would drop a wall instead, and then they could toss their capstone and smash, but it was sort of inevitable there. Now black can do something here. Maybe if they drop a wall, they're able to then toss this capstone down onto D3. They instead just drop a flat, going for this vertical threat still. I think white can make the threat by playing an F3. It's exactly what they do. We might be seeing, we can't see this capture onto C3. That won't do it. Black's basically got to throw this capstone down. Yeah, they've got to take the capstone down to D3 if they want to stop this threat. I think that's the only move at this point. And we'll see if Spawnoza is able to spot that. But that is the only delaying move, at least that I see. I don't think there's anything else. Let's take a look at this. If we get this capturing over, white just captures over and makes that threat. That's fine. Black comes down to here. White still captures over or down, makes the threat. Captures here, same thing. Captures here, same thing. Yeah, the only thing that works is throwing this capstone down onto D3. The only move. He does spot the move. Now, what will white do here? Will they come left with this stack? Will they come right with the capstone? I wouldn't recommend coming right with the capstone. You've got it poised to make a strong +3 flat count differential move here. If you're wondering, what the heck is he talking about with a +3 flat count differential move? That is covered in the FCD or flat count differential video of TAC University. But white does come right with the capstone. Again, very ill-advised move, I would say. Definitely wanted to come left with this. You wanted to save that capstone stack to be able to do things in the future. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work out very well. I feel like that's a bit throwing away that position. And now trying to salvage it with this wall. You're going to see black probably come left onto this A4 stack with probably the top two of B4. Or they're going to take this capstone and smash at B3 to make the attack threat. And that'll invite that capstone to come back left onto B4 again. This is tough. This is a tough one. Yeah, black does come left. Let's see White may decide to spread this left all the way to a4 and make the tack, oh, not a tack threat because the capstone's there, yeah. May decide to spread this capstone left and capture here onto a4 and then spread back. I think that's not a bad play. If they leave behind a flat here on c4 and on b4 and they get up here onto a4, with this wall next to it, this stack's probably going to run, going to take this 4, and it's going to go 4a4 plus 1, 3. And if you're saying, what the heck is that supposed to mean? That, I wouldn't worry about it. Or just go to the PTN video or play tag notation video of Tech University. But black doesn't spread that up. Instead, goes for the tack threat by smashing. White comes up with the wall. Now it's surrounded by these walls. I feel like white did have a very strong position that they have essentially given away. It's not lost or anything, but they had a very, very winning position and did give up a lot of ground here. It looked very, very dominant on white's side. Now it's a little bit more even and potentially in black's favor at this point. Now, if I'm white, I want to shift gears to the vertical threat here. Maybe play up at f5. Maybe play at e2. Playing an a4 doesn't really do anything for you as white. You've got all of this on this side that you can go for. You've got this stack you can spread across to the right. Make a citadel again. Really strong position. I feel like dropping an a4 was sort of a panic move, trying to defend against something that really isn't a threat here. If black's going to go for anything, it's going to be a horizontal along the bottom, because it's really the only thing they've got here. They can do something with this capstone. They can spread it left and then try and go for like a hard cap smash. But it's sort of a desperation play. Playing along the bottom like they're doing right now at e2 is the play for black. White playing at e4 here, I don't quite agree with. Black's going to want to play over at f2 or f1, and white wants to play there also. So they might as well play there to sort of block black from going for this horizontal on the bottom. Unless, if black is... Yeah, if white is trying to smash this and go for the horizontal still, that's going to be surprising. I would not expect that. Black is coming close to that horizontal threat. Yeah, this is a tough spot here for white. Still not out of the game. And black's threat is a little superficial. It's fairly easy to stop at this point. It's not too late. But you want to be careful with what you do in the next few moves. Comes over, not a tag threat, but it is stopping black's threat for right now. Black can come over, however, with this capstone onto e3 and then threaten this stack. Not only would he be threatening the stack, he would also be threatening to make that threat yet again along the bottom in the horizontal direction. That is probably the best move here for black. I'm trying to think if there's something better. They do go for that move. Now white, based on how they're playing, they'll probably play at f4 No, they drop at d3 inexplicably. Not sure why they would do that. You're going to have black come down onto e2 probably this turn. No, just playing at d2. White can throw this down to make that connection here and cut that off a little bit, but black coming down with that capstone would basically stop that. White drops the wall, knowing what's coming soon, ready to shut that down. I don't know. This is a tough one here. And we do take a look at the flat count here. Black has 11, white has 9. Black is even further ahead now. Black has 11, white has 8. So black coming up ahead in flat count, making the tack threat here. Playing at a2 would be a road. White just drops another wall. White had this game pretty much locked in the beginning. Let some opportunities go by, and then now black is taking control of this board and positioning in general. It's looking pretty good for black at this point, to be honest. White's been forced to play 4 walls. Or not been forced, but has decided to play 4 walls. And that is putting them behind on flat count for sure. Black going for this vertical line. White's still trying to make this horizontal work. Now, if white can place at b3... Oh, never mind. Black made a move. I was going to say, if white could place at b3, that would have been a attack threat by smashing, but no longer, as that black capstone has come up. White probably wants to take this stack and maybe spread it down here. They'll have another double stack here they can do stuff with and make some more positive flat count differential moves, kind of get some of that flat count back. Maybe make some moves in the vertical direction here in the same way. Capturing here onto e3 is just inviting that capstone to come back down. I don't know why you would want that capstone to come back down. Maybe so you can try and fill up this stack, because it's got 5. So bring it up on here would make it so it could just move 1 space and still leave a black space behind, a black flat behind. So that could be the thought process behind that move there. Now, an interesting idea is to spread this left. So take this e3 stack, spread it left, you self-capture with both, but then you're able to make 2 really strong flat count differential moves after the fact. I think that's an interesting way to go about this. I don't expect that to happen. Instead, just comes down very, very normally there. Okay, black comes left with the wall, ready to capture onto that e2 stack yet again. And I think that is the right play. Black making a lot smarter plays here in the late game, the mid to late game here. White was up in the early game. Black able to claw some of this back in positioning. White making another capture with that stack, making it even more desirable for black to capture. Typically, you would say that black would win the capture war on d2 because they've got the d1 and they've got the c2, but white does have this double stack on d4 to be able to throw down. However, that wouldn't mean anything if this wall decides to come left yet again to threaten. So if it does go over onto d3, that stack is running out of options. Black down to 6.5 minutes on the clock. Dayofni and White just below 13 minutes. Black making attack threat here, playing up for that horizontal threat up at the top, playing at c5 would be a road. White's going to have to stop that somehow. Playing a flat at c5 would do the trick, but it wouldn't be a particularly strong stoppage. Black would likely follow that up with a c6 placement in order to renew that threat. White instead spreads upwards with that double stack. What's Black's play here? If I'm Black, I might want to take this wall stack left onto d3. And the reason being is White's clearly going for this vertical. And playing here threatens this stack, but it also threatens the stack above at d5 with the throw. Black instead just decides to drop another wall here. Let's take a look at the flat count now. 12 for Black. 9 for White. So Black is still firmly ahead by 3 in the flat department. And they're getting lower on reserves here. I think they're both even. 10 reserves each, about. May have miscounted, but I feel like it's about 10. So coming close, and the board is coming up on a fill. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 spots left on the board. White makes yet another capture, making attack threat here, placing at c5 or smashing here onto the wall on d4 would be a road. Black can avoid this by coming down with the wall, coming up with the wall, coming left with this wall, coming right with this stack. A lot of options to cut that off. They decided to come left with that wall stack. This is threatening that big stack to be able to do some damage, make some threats. This looks very, very strongly in Black's favor at this point. It's going to be really, really difficult for White to come back from this, specifically because of all the liabilities they've got. They're not really able to get to these up at a6. You got these flats surrounding. White would have to take several moves to get to that point. So that's going to make things difficult. White not really able to make any tack threats either. Nothing that can stick. Black's having a hard time with that as well. Black really can't make any threats. They can by placing at c5 and then coming up with the wall. Little drawbridge threat. That's probably the best threat that's on the board, but they don't really need to. At this point in the game, they're so far ahead on flats, and the game is nearing a close in terms of reserve count and things like that. They should just be dropping flats and keeping their flat count ahead of White's. And they will be winning this game if they play this right. If I were with Aliano 2, the current TAC champion, he would definitely say, Black has won this game, White is lost. But I think that he would have also said, White has won this game, Black has lost 20 turns ago, or however long ago it was before White threw away their position. So in these tournaments, anything can happen, right? Nothing is predetermined. Doesn't matter how bad your position is. You can miss a simple threat and lose right away. We've seen it in games between top players where they've missed an easy threat. So it can obviously happen here in this beginner tournament as well. White plays up at c5. Black immediately comes upwards with that wall. c5 was taken from them, but they can drop a flat up at c6. White drops at c6. No road threat really possible at this point. White just trying to get their flats on the board. Black's got opportunities for positive flat count differential moves. A couple of them. White has none. I will say, I typically try to be a little more lenient in tournament commentary for beginners, but these guys have made it to the finals. And basically me saying that Black should win this game, and if they lose, it's really, really bad, is saying, oh, that's an opportunity. That was huge. Black making a huge mistake there by coming left with that wall in range of that capstone. Now, okay, I was saying Black had this one. Black does not have this one. White has made a move. White, with that wall smash, has come back into this game. Black making that big mistake with that wall stack there. Now, White has been sort of stopped here, at least temporarily. Black, if I'm Black, I'm placing at B3 here. If I'm Black, I'm dropping at B3, and I'm making the sneaky tack threat. Drops a wall at F6 instead. Okay, maybe he doesn't see his sneaky tack threat. He does have the opportunity, if White stops it by spreading left, for example, to be able to do that. But that was big. Black had this game won, and then they moved that wall stack to the left onto C5, and that made it so it's a whole lot less certain who can win this game. White's setting up for a vertical line here. Doesn't have enough in this C5 stack to spread all the way down for the threat, but what they do have is enough to spread all the way down and threaten this D2 stack when they do so. So they can spread this down, making a vertical threat, leaving this spot open, and threatening to smash here. Black comes left. White is now open to spread this down, making the tack threat. If they do so, however, they are opening this spot up for Black to just drop a flat here, which would give them a tack threat. White's got this wall, however, to come up and interrupt that, so not too much in danger there. Then they're also threatening this stack on D2 to smash and then get some of that flat count differential back, get some of those flats back that they've been missing, get back in the game here. This game is far from over. While I was saying, this game is over, it's done, this person has won, yeah, I was wrong. I was just explaining how anything can happen, and then I was talking about how it was inevitable. It's not. This game is still up for grabs. Either player can win here. I'm seeing several opportunities for Black, several opportunities for White. If I'm going to give it to anyone in this moment, I'm going to say White is slightly ahead. White comes up with the wall stack first. Doesn't want to make that spread before coming up with the wall stack. I understand that. Black does, however, have this +3 flat count differential move here, coming left with this wall stack. Black plays at B4, hoping to set up for a vertical or a horizontal threat here by playing at D4. Coming down with A5 would be a road there. White probably wants to take this stack and spread it down now before they lose the opportunity. No, just going to drop a flat at B3. I don't know what that flat does. That one's a mystery to me. What's that one for? Yeah, I don't know what B3 does at this point. Maybe it does nothing. Maybe it does something that I'm just not seeing. But I do think that spread is pretty important. Right now, Black is making a threat. Taking a5 minus would be a road here. Does white see it, and how will they respond? I really want to see the spread down to c2, threatening the stack, also interrupting this road. I want to see that move. White self-captures with the wall instead. Now, not the most intuitive of moves. Black can renew by placing here at a3, because b2 plus can make that road. But white also has the opportunity now to throw this wall up to a6 and recover those captive flats. Black now switching gears, playing at f3, able to play on f1 on the next turn, make attack threat by spreading this wall stack to the left. Maybe that's what they're going for here. If I'm white, I'm making... No, white has cut off their own ability to spread down to c2. This move I've been hoping would happen for a while isn't happening. Black now making attack threat in the vertical direction, playing at f1 would be a road here. Now, if you... Okay. I was going to say, if you bring this capstone over, you're threatening this stack, and you're threatening the wall stack. Either one would have been great. Instead, this wall comes over. There are so many really cool move potentials that have happened in this game, especially for capstone spreads and smashes, but none of them are happening. And it's making me sad. I love a good cap smash and spread. Those are great. But those moves are being ignored. I think dayofni did mention previously that they have a hard time spotting good spreads and things like that. Uh-oh. White drops yet another wall. I don't know how many walls they've dropped, but they definitely have currently 5 walls on the board. And they are way behind in terms of flat count. That is 5 flats for white. I can count just by looking at the board. Let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 to 12. At this point, it would take some crazy plays to make this work on both sides. On both sides. And black has 3 reserves left. He's going to run this down. He's going to place flats until this game is over. White doesn't have any option for roads here. It's blocked by walls, whether it be their own or their opponents. Black can probably place their last 3 flats without defending against a single attack threat. Yeah, I think they can. I think this is Galet for black, but they're not dropping more flats. They're going for a road, I feel like. Now, if black smashes with their capstone stack and gives up that huge stack of whites to white, that would be a significant blunder and would give white an opportunity to come back in this game. I don't think that we're going to see that, however. White smashing. I think that it's too little too late at this point, if I'm going to be honest. Again, black can drop flats and win, I think, still, just by dropping flats. Even with some positive flat count differential moves from white, I feel like it can probably still happen. I mean, white can spread left and then spread down. That's actually a pretty significant flat count boost for white. So they might be able to have a chance here. I think that wall move up from black was a bit of a blunder. Again, they could have dropped flats until they won, but Yeah, white probably wants to spread left here and then spread down. They spread down instead. Are they going for like a Tinue where they capture up and do a hard cap on c5? Because black would just be able to ring their own capstone over. Maybe white wants to drop a flat here at d2 or something to go for that. White's not threatening a road right now, but also threatening to smash this stack. If I'm black, I probably just want to play a flat here at d4. I think that would work. Flat at d4. Spawnoza down to about a minute on the clock. dayofni still has 8. So he's got to be thinking quick if he wants to convert this into a win. Down below a minute on the clock. This has been almost 40 minutes of gameplay here. Spawnoza coming down close, down to 40 seconds on the clock. He's got to make a move soon. Moves down with that wall stack. Running away from the capstone. Does not want to get that smashed. Yeah, black can play at f6 as well to go for a road threat. Playing a flat at f6 would be a road threat and also get his reserves down farther. So it would cause white to have to capture in order to stop his threat. Black can drop a wall now at c3 and still be up on flats. Not a problem. White smashes. Black wins with a road. White didn't see the pin there. If you take a look, black drops the wall. White smashes here, opens this spot up for black to just drop right here at d4 and win with a road. Ooh, that's too bad. White had plenty of time, did not use that time. And that's the thing that happens a lot when one player is down a lot on time and the other player isn't. A lot of times you'll say, oh, they're really low on time. I can force them into making quicker decisions by playing fast. But when you play fast, you are also giving yourself less time to think about moves. So that is trouble. But Spawnoza has won game 1 of this 2-game match. Congratulations to Spawnoza for winning. That is it for today. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the description below for all things TAC, especially the TAC Discord server, which is the community hub where you can find all sorts of TAC resources like strategy guides and people to play with, whether that be right here on playtac.com or asynchronously through the Discord server itself. Lots and lots of resources to play with and people to play with. Lots and lots of great stuff out there. And don't forget, we are coming back for game 2 next week, so be sure to check that out. And until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.